Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Pepsi Prebiotic Cola in original and cherry vanilla. That Pepsi taste you love, with no artificial sweeteners, only 30 calories, just 5 grams of sugar, and 3 grams of prebiotic fiber. That great Pepsi taste with even more to love. Pepsi Prebiotic Cola. Unbelievably Pepsi.
Let's be completely honest. Are you happy with your job? The fact is, a huge number of people can't say yes to that. Too many of us are stuck in a job we've outgrown or one we never really wanted in the first place. But we stick it out and we give reasons like, what if the next move is worse? And I've put years into this place. And maybe the most common one, isn't everyone miserable at work? But there's a difference between reasons for staying and excuses for not leaving. It's time to get unstuck. It's time for Strawberry.me. They match you with a certified career coach who helps you get from where you are to where you want to be, either at your existing job or by helping you find a new one. Your coach helps clarify your goals, creates a plan, and keeps you accountable along the way. Go to strawberry.me/career and get 50% off your first coaching session. That's strawberry.me/career.
Hello and welcome back to the Psych Legal Pop Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about popular culture through the lens of an attorney and a therapist. I'm the therapist, Tess Brigham.
And I'm Brooke Brigham. I'm the attorney.
So today we are continuing with our coverage of Seeking Sister Wives, Season 5, Episode 9, Seeking a Silver Lining.
Oh.
And I'm telling you, we have finally met the hero that we've all needed, Billy. Billy is us. Billy is every single person in the audience. And he is saying, and it's like, thank you, Billy. Thank you. Thank you for your service.
He's the Greek chorus.
He is. He is what we need. Someone to speak the truth. Finally.
Yeah. Wow. Should we start with them?
Yeah, let's start with them because the only segment for the Davis family, which is like 2 weeks in a row, there have been only one scene of the Davis family. I don't know if it's that the Merrifields, it's just too good and they don't have enough time and they don't have enough time for them. But it's very these snippets, these little things.
I think they're warming us up because the scenes from next week, we're introduced to a new potential sister wife.
Yes. And Dannielle
does not like.
Mm-hmm.
This is, and so this scene with April and her brother, she's foreshadowing.
Yes.
Because she's saying, I'm afraid that, this could all fall apart because Dannielle, is not going to like the fourth wife or want the fourth wife, something like that. And it's like, very interesting.
Yeah. Well, what I think is so interesting about this is that April tells us, this is my brother. We're very close. We're very, very close. He's moving to Florida. We want to spend time together. So this is your sibling. You're close with your sibling. And, you would think that and I don't know if she says I don't think she said I trust his opinion per se, but she indicates that she, this is a person she likes and she has respect for. Mm-hmm. And she does not listen to one thing he says. She heard it, but she didn't really listen to it because he says everything that is a concern and she has a reason for it or an excuse but this is how it is or, this is how we see it. And it's like, but if you love and respect this person, I don't know, I would care. I would be like, interesting. I don't know. Maybe if I was so locked into my plan so deeply that nothing anybody would say to me, but it was a little bit like I think she really took this attitude of, and I think a lot of these people do, which is they don't approve of this lifestyle. So therefore, everything they say is going to be wrong or not even, I don't know if it's wrong, but like incorrect, or it's going to come from this biased place. And it's a bit of like, well, maybe some of it is, but they're also speaking some real truth here and some things that you do have to look at. Like it is, yeah, Nick's sitting at home all day. Yeah, now he's a dad, but what was he doing before?
Right. Well, here's my sense. I don't think Billy has a problem with polygamy per se.
No.
He has a big problem with Nick.
Yes, he does not like Nick at all. And I'm with him. I'm with him, right?
He doesn't like Nick. And here's the thing. You can love and respect your sibling a lot, but if you're really into somebody or into a relationship, you know, you're not going to really receive what they tell you.
Mm-hmm.
No,
I guess not.
It's, you know, when you could try to talk to some people, you know, and, you know, I've been in relationships, probably all of my relationships that you didn't really approve of.
Wait, me?
Yeah.
What relationships did I not approve of?
No, but I mean, like, I'm sure there's been people like you. Well, okay, let's not go there.
Yeah,
not approve of, but like would not like necessarily like pick that person for me or think it's good or healthy. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Not like you're disapproving or saying anything or doing anything.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And if
like an opinion that you have.
And
but it doesn't mean that it and just because I stay with that person doesn't mean I don't, you know, respect what you have to say.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that I'm locked up in my own like world, you know, like
this is getting real personal about Brooke.
Well, wait, I mean,
do you have Nick at home? Are you?
I have a version of Nick, like my past, maybe, you know, so, you know, but when you're in it, you know, you can't see, and other people can point it out to you and you could totally respect their opinion. And you just kind of go, well, you know, it's like denial or, you know, get defensive or whatever. So she's not going to listen to what he has to say.
I guess not. But when I first saw him, I didn't know exactly, you know, I saw him and I was like, he kind of looked kind of goofy and whatever. And then all of a sudden he opens his mouth and I'm like, thank God, you know, like, oh, thank you. Because when you watch the show, sometimes you feel like, is it me? Am I the crazy one? Like, am I really provincial and I don't approve of this or what's going on? You hear Nick. I'm like,
no.
Nick, Billy, I'm like, thank you. Thank you so much. Because, Billy says it straight up that April sits down, I guess they meet for lunch, and she tells him like, hey, you know, Dannielle moved out, but she moved back in. And, you know, Billy's like, why bring in another person? Mm-hmm. You know, if she's telling you she doesn't want this or she's not ready for this, why the urgency to get more people? And basically you just said, I think it's just all about Nick and what Nick wants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he said when talking about Dannielle, you know, April's talking out of both sides of her mouth, that he calls her on this because she says, because he's like, what is the rush? Why do you have to bring in a fourth person? And she said, well, we moved really quickly with Dannielle and look how great that turned out. And he's like, what? She left.
Yeah.
Like she,
He said, look what happened.
Yeah, exactly. And then April kind of wasn't able to really provide a response to that because April, it went too fast and look at what's happened.
Yeah.
And then she tries to say, well, we're just an untraditional family and it's a role reversal. And again, Billy's like, okay, what did Nick do before Vera was born?
Yeah. And quite frankly, I'll be honest with you, because we've had friends and family friends and such that have had, that maybe they never had kids or before they had kids where the one partner with the man, in this case that I'm thinking of, right? He's always worked and she's sort of worked, but like hasn't really worked for the last 15 years. They don't have kids, but they don't have money. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I can understand if you're a millionaire, billionaire, you have tons of money and your partner, wife, husband want to stay home. Okay, fine. That's your prerogative. But I'm with Billy on this, that I would have a real problem if my able-bodied partner and we needed money and they weren't working and they were just sitting at home thinking all day. That would piss me off.
Yeah. But again, we don't know what's wrong with Nick. Something's wrong with Nick. He might not be able to work.
So you think he's on disability?
Like he has a brain injury or something.
You think he's got a brain injury? I don't know. I think he's the most genius person that's ever walked the earth, because I think that he's figured this out, and the way he's coming across on screen, because we saw him last week, he's like, so Dannielle, do you feel like you're ready to start, searching again?
Oh, that's so fake.
I know,
That's
but
what
he's
been
good
told to say.
I know, but he's good. Like he knows his role, and he's like, okay, this is how I'm going to play it.
Nick,
and he puts April as the bad, he puts her in that position.
Yeah, no, April tells him what to say. Nick has barely been a part of this season. We've barely seen him. He's barely spoken 2 words. Everything he said is like, oh, Dannielle, like, I don't know that, he's just doing he's delivering his lines. I mean, it just has become so obvious this season that Nick is being used by April, and all these other people are being used by April. Mm-hmm. I think April is scary.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just hoping she would listen to Billy, but she's not going to. I mean, she's determined. She's just going to keep on going. And one thing that he pointed out, which I thought was really interesting, is he said, when he was calling April on all this stuff and she was claiming that Dannielle's back and she's happy, he's like, maybe Dannielle's just telling you what you want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, see, he's really astute. He just bam, bam, bam.
Why did April even agree to let him come on? She had to have known that this wasn't going to go well for her. I mean, she knows how he feels.
Yeah. Well, but you know what? It's the same thing with the Salahuddins. Keep bringing the mother, his mother on. They know these conversations aren't going to go well. And we see from the scenes from next week, things are really going to blow up.
It really doesn't go well.
It really doesn't go well. So I think that, I don't know, I think they're just want to please the producers and want content and want to be on the show and, willing to do what they need to do. I guess.
This is all producer driven. They're probably asking April, is there anyone in your family that, we can bring on and talk about it? And do they approve of Nick? Do they like Nick? And she's like, well, not really. And they're like, great. What's his phone number?
Yeah. And that's how they get Billy on. And,
yeah. Well, I hope we see Billy again. Probably not. He's gone to Florida.
Yeah. Billy's like, I got no time for this anymore. And they're out where they're in Colorado, right? So yeah, that's a bit of a haul. So yeah, that was essentially the Davises, but
that was it.
Our hero Billy was there.
But next week it heats up. I don't know if it's the hot tub scene that we've been waiting for, but I think next week we meet this new potential.
And I mean, I really don't feel like these people vet people at all. I swear, I think they just cast a wide net, and then anyone who says yes and who says 5 or 6 things that they agree with can come on in. I mean, because this woman that they were interviewing, and I don't know if that's the same woman that's in the hot tub, right? She seemed, I was with Dannielle because Dannielle said, I think she's telling us what we want to hear. Like that woman was definitely not, I don't think she was that authentic.
Yeah, well, we know that April found Jen at work. I can't remember where she found Dannielle to go back and investigate.
Had they already, when because they were on last year, were they just last year and this year? Were they on season 3?
I think it was. Oh, that's a good question. I can't remember if last season was. I think last season was their first season. But
so then, was Dannielle already introduced? Or was the storyline that they met Dannielle through the process?
What I remember is, so April and Jen were already married, and they were with Nick, and they were like, we want to add someone else in. And all of a sudden, Dannielle shows up, and I don't know where they got her from. Mm-hmm. I don't remember. Maybe I can go back. I should go back and watch the first episode from last season.
Yeah.
Someone write us and refresh my memory. I don't know where they met us, but that's the thing. My point is, I don't know where they meet these people.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess work, they're not any more people at work. Or maybe it's spread around at work. Like if April asks you to coffee, don't go. If she asks that if you want to come over and hang out in the hot tub, say no.
say no.
Yeah.
Get out. Get out.
Get out now. All right. So should we go to the Salahuddins?
Oh, sure.
Who have come back and, these two, I every time I'm just like, there's more and more about them that Nyla is beautiful, but the rest of it, I don't get. Their friend, Michael and Shamir, that's not the way they describe them is these are our friends and they're also Muslim and they're, they practice polygamy and here, aren't they great? Polygyny. Aren't they great? And they're so wonderful. And then Michael starts telling the story and you're like, oh, wait a second here. There's more to this than what you're outlining for us.
Well, and Shamir, yes, she doesn't seem very happy.
No. And she's mad. She seems to be mad at Nyla.
Well, she's mad at Nyla because, this is what pissed her off towards the end of their little picnic, but we are always seeing these people eating. But, so they're having this picnic with them and, so Michael had a wife and then that wife left.
Well, yeah. So the way Shamir's introduced as his second or third wife. And then you're like,
or third.
And you're kind of like, okay, well, tell me more about this. And that his first wife he said, well, he got married once and his first wife wasn't interested in polygyny. What is polygyny versus polygamy?
So polygamy is when you can have either one man with several wives or one woman with several husbands. Mm-hmm. It could be either sex. So he's making polygyny is just one man with several wives.
Okay.
So he's trying to delineate himself as being, I'm the one who gets the wives. It's not the other way around.
Got it. So the first wife didn't want, his first wife didn't want this lifestyle, he said. So when he married his second wife, the first wife divorced him within 2 months. And then I guess the second wife and Shamir were friends and close. And that was part of this jealousy that she was talking about. So technically, Shamir is his third wife, but really, the first marriage, she was out of here.
Her friend, the second wife, Michael said something to the effect of Shamir was sort of on deck to be next, but he married the other woman.
Yes.
I guess Shamir's friend first. So she was technically second and then Shamir was last. And that's when she tells the story that when he was on the honeymoon with the second wife, she didn't go to the wedding. She went to work, but then got upset and had to go home. And so this is what pissed her off towards the end is when they start talking about jealousy, because Shamir does say, I have had to deal with jealousy. So someone asks Nyla, who, mind you, they have never lived. They can't even find someone.
Yes, because
let alone live polygamy. And someone asks her about jealousy, and Nyla's like, "Well, no, I really don't feel jealous." And then cut to Samir going, "Yeah, well, it's real easy to say that when you've never even experienced this. What are you talking about? You just wait." Girl, just wait.
Well, yeah, the first part was all about how, and it was almost like it's like an episode of Sex and the City. Like, oh God, dating is so tough. both sets of married people agree that trying to date and trying to seek a sister wife is really, really hard, and how hard it is to date. And that's why they're having a picnic in the park together to sort of, commiserate and get their help. And then the way in which Shamir kind of acted about what she said to the camera about, she doesn't know. She has no idea how jealous she'll be. It was like, but aren't you guys kind of like mentors for them? I mean, okay. Like, that's not really a great way to mentor someone, is to just, just tell them they're idiots and they don't know anything.
And do you think they've ever even met before that day?
I got the sense that they knew each other and they were close, but I don't think that they're mentors for them.
I don't think they even know each other because they're asking each other basic questions.
Because they had to for the show.
I don't know. Some of them, like, they could have said it for the show. They could have set it up and said things. I feel like I feel like TLC found these people and brought them to the picnic that day. And that was their first meeting.
Got it. Okay. Because that explains how angry Shamira was. Because the anger, like, I can understand if you're sitting there and you might say, listen, she hasn't been there yet. You know, it's easy right now, but it'll change. She was visibly angry, like upset, almost like pissed off.
Like, what am I doing here?
Yeah. How dare she say to me that she's not going to be jealous kind of thing. Right. And it was like, okay, there's a lot of animosity. I was like, okay, this is interesting. But that Michael kind of describing the situation, well, my first wife wasn't really into it. So let me get this straight, Michael. You married your first wife and probably didn't tell her this is what you wanted to do.
Right.
And then you find that these other two women that seem to be on deck, you know, around the same time, and you go ahead and marry the second wife. And the first wife obviously got up and left, like, because she did not, you know, because you tricked her in some way, shape, or form. And then I'm still unclear about whether or not the second woman that he married, is she still in the picture?
No.
So what happened to her?
I don't know. But I think it's just Shamira is the last.
Yeah, because that's his ride or die.
Ride or die.
But they're still looking for more people. She's his ride or die, but they are looking for other sister wives.
So does Shamira get then bumped up? Is she now first wife, or how does that work?
I guess so. I mean, who is she competing with? Maybe this was part of Shamira's plan the whole time. Who knows? Like, she's zeroed in and, you know, I want this. But they're apparently searching for more wives. So I don't know. I don't know how. And again, they can't seem to find people. Nobody can find anybody. Nobody.
Yeah.
Except April. April can find people.
April's good. She should start a service.
She should.
To find people. When I was watching this on Hulu, on, you know, like a rebroadcast that had like some bonus scenes. And I think that this was a bonus scene where they ask each other, oh, well, do you definitely want someone who's Muslim? And I think Michael says that it's not deal breaker, but, you know, obviously the person has to be open to it and, you know, be okay with it. And then Naeem says, well, no, that's a deal breaker. We absolutely have to have someone who's Muslim. And then he starts talking about how when he was a kid, somehow, I guess his mom put a Christmas wreath on their door at Christmas time. And some kids at school were saying, I thought you were Muslim. Why do you have a wreath on your door? And he's like, I don't have a wreath on my door. And they're like, yeah, you do. Isn't your address, you know, da, 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 da. And he's like, what? He said he left school, went home, took the wreath off the door and destroyed it.
Wow.
So that kind of like gives a little insight into his relationship with his mom, because maybe his mom is more open to celebrating, because I think Michael said he'd be okay to have a Christmas tree in his house. And that's when Naeem was like, oh, no, we're not having a Christmas tree. And then he tells the wreath story.
Oh my gosh. How old? Does he say how old he was at the time?
I can't remember exactly, but, you know, like grade school, maybe junior high school.
Okay.
I don't know.
Old enough to go home by himself.
Old enough to leave school, walk home, and destroy the wreath.
Wow. Okay.
So I don't know.
So don't say Merry Christmas.
No.
Do not say
happy holidays.
Don't even say that. Yeah.
So, yeah, you gotta go watch. Do you have Hulu? Like, live Hulu package?
Oh, I don't know if we have. We used to have live Hulu, but I think it was really expensive, and we got something else. I don't know.
I think anymore. You have to have I have the expensive package to get this thing, but it has these bonus scenes, and I got to start looking out for them more.
Yeah. I'm just looking at my notes. This last thing was, I think you said this though, but Nyla saying that she hasn't had any moments of jealousy, and I'm thinking, and I write down, because there hasn't been any other people.
You've never met anybody.
How could you be jealous of Regina? She didn't even show up. Keisha, sorry. She didn't even show up. And then you both think this Alexis is trash. Like, so I just remember thinking that is so funny that was her response. And I'm like, but you haven't had anyone.
Right. And that's when Samir was just like, oh my God.
Yeah. She was just like, I don't want to listen to anything this woman has to say.
Can I go now?
Yeah. Well, they do. I mean, I will say they do act a little superior with people. They really do. And it's a little bit of like, okay, but you really don't know anything. You're struggling. You don't know everything, and you are struggling with this. And there are things that you don't know, but they don't really want to hear that at all.
No.
From anybody. So anyhow. All right.
Nope.
So before we get to the Merrifields, let's talk about the Sherwood family. Because this was interesting. Ashley and Shane.
Still perplexed by these people.
I'm still perplexed too. And I'm still perplexed by what's going on with Shane's health. Because at one point he does say, I went and got that test I needed to get. And okay, so does that mean you got the test and it was clear, but you're saying something may happen in the future and you want to be prepared? Are you saying that you just did the test, but you don't have the results? Like, it was a little unclear.
Yeah, no idea.
So you didn't glean anything?
No. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So Sara, and when they really do spell this out, I feel for this Sara, because this is now apparently her third date with these two. And they are wanting exclusivity. They're wanting such a commitment. Sara comes over to their house. Shane is still unsure about Sara. And so this time he's going to ask the tough questions. And poor Ashley looks scared out of her mind. Like, she looks so worried. And, they're worried that Sarah's looking for something casual. And so they sit her down and basically say to her, we want you to be exclusive. And I don't particularly think that's very fair to say to someone where you've had one date with this one person, then you go mini golf together and get an interrogation. And now date 3 is coming over to their house. Like, did she even get a meal or water or anything? I mean, and now it's like, okay, you need to tell us if you're going to in or out.
Yeah. Like, what is in this for Sara? I mean, if Sara just wants to be on TV, it's like, this makes no sense to me. And she's being so accommodating to them. She says, well, this isn't what I'm used to. I'm more used to like friends with benefits. And she goes through this whole thing about, this is not my thing, but for you guys, okay, I guess I'll give it a try. Well, even though I barely know you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know. I think she felt really cornered because she says that. They put her on the spot. But I think what she said was pretty right on, which is that I'm not going to promise you, right, that we're going to have this future together, but I can promise you that I'm not going to pursue other relationships. And that is pretty much how relationships work, right? You meet someone, you get to know them, you get to a point at which both people sort of agree, like, we're not going to pursue other things. And then you kind of keep going and you keep going, right? But they're wanting so much, so fast. And then, and I get the sense that it's Shane. And I'm wondering if Shane is doing this as a way to sabotage these relationships, not consciously, but unconsciously, because he is so determined. I understand he will say that we need to know because our lives are so chaotic, our lives are so crazy. We have to know if they're in this relationship. We can't just have someone coming in and coming out. But I do wonder is there a part of you that maybe doesn't want these relationships to work? And so that's why you keep questioning Sara?
But then why is he putting so much effort into it? I mean,
I think they're putting effort in for the show, right?
Oh, I don't know. I mean,
I'm saying that I think I'm saying that this is happening maybe on a unconscious level, right? We sometimes do things to protect ourselves unconsciously. And it seems like from what I've seen that I think if someone really pressured Shane and said, is this what you want? I don't think this is what Shane wants.
But why? Okay, but then so why is he doing it? Why is he on this show? He tells us, that about his health stuff. How did we get here? How did we get here?
I think he's doing it because I think he, number one, really, really loves Ashley and wants her to be happy. And I think he is fearful that she will leave him for a woman. And if he does not allow her to date women while they're together, I also think that he feels a tremendous amount of guilt. And he shouldn't, but I think he feels a lot of, he feels shame or guilt or something about the fact that he's sick and that they have these 2 young children now and that he's sick and that he could be gone and that he feels this pressure of, I'm the man of the house and I've got to protect my family. So, okay, this will kill 2 birds, 1 stone kind of thing. Ashley will be able to be with a woman. She won't leave me. I'll still be here. And, if something ever happens to me, then there'll be someone to step in and Ashley's not by herself.
Well, that's a lot.
That's what I think.
He's really trying to get a lot out of this show.
Maybe, because, but they're still dating now, right? People have seen profiles of them. Yeah. That's what I've seen like on Facebook. And
they're still dating Sara.
I don't know if it's Sara, but people have found their profiles on some of these dating sites.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't understand this. I thought I understood it when we found out about his illness, but now I don't. I'm so confused by Shane and Ashley.
And then they go out to dinner with their friend Rachel, and then Ashley's wearing like a heart monitor. Did you see that? So
probably because of the baby. Maybe she's having, stress on her body because. Yeah.
Because these people are trying to do 90 things at once.
Right. Because exactly.
Yeah. So that's right. So towards the end, he says he's had a screening. He says, I had that screening that I needed to have. And that was it. And then again, Rachel, smart, says, why now? What happens when, she's asking some good questions, which is a little bit of like, so where's Sara fit into all of this? Because it's very different than these other situations where, they're going to get married and they're going to move into the house. It's like, where is Sara going to move in? She's asking some good questions of like, what does this look like? And is it just going to be Sara and Ashley on their own, or is all the dates going to be together? Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Here?
Nobody understands this.
No.
Nobody understands it. No one understands what's happening. It's just every week. I feel like every week there's a different twist on.
Well, and that's why, and I think we're confused because they're confused.
Yeah.
They don't know what they want. They're all over the place.
So they can't present a cohesive, coherent.
Not like April.
No. April has a plan. She probably has the handbook,
Yes. Oh, I'm sure she is.
With rules and regulations.
Oh, yeah. And that's why she was pissed at Dannielle, like having money to rent an apartment. She's like, wait a second, in my handbook,
you were supposed to turn over everything.
All your accounts to me. Yeah. You have some sort of secret account that we don't know about.
You have
or something
a side
like
hustle
that.
And a side bank account somewhere we don't know about.
Yes, exactly.
Psych Legal Pop will be right back after these messages.
Hey there, it's Tess Brigham, the therapist half of Psych Legal Pop. In addition to being a therapist, I'm also a coach, speaker, and author. And if you go to my website, you'll find courses, ebooks, and worksheets for sale. If you're feeling a bit lost, overwhelmed by life's twists and turns, or you're just simply stuck, I've got you covered. Head over to my website, www.tessbrigham.com, for courses, ebooks, and worksheets tailored to help you unlock your true potential. From relationship struggles to career transitions, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. So stop looking outside of yourself at friends, family, social media for the answers. The answers to all your questions are inside of you. My products and services are the first step in uncovering your true you.
Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Pepsi Prebiotic Cola in original and cherry vanilla. That Pepsi taste you love with no artificial sweeteners, only 30 calories, just 5 grams of sugar, and 3 grams of prebiotic fiber. That great Pepsi taste with even more to love. Pepsi Prebiotic Cola. Unbelievably Pepsi.
All right. So let's get to the meat of the story, the Merrifields.
People.
Oh, boy.
This was a good one. This was
good. And Nathalia? I don't know about her.
I don't know either. Okay, let's start at the very beginning.
Okay.
So exciting. Okay, so we see Dannielle in a cab in Brazil, putting on her makeup, freshening up to go see Garrick. So I guess she's decided to come to the wedding after all.
Yeah. And
she arrives at this place. Now, I'm 100% convinced this is an Airbnb of some sort, rental. This is not Nathalia's apartment.
Yeah, I didn't think it was.
First of all, it's very nice, very expensive, very minimalist, doesn't look lived in. It looks like a rental. There's nothing, there's no clutter, there's no anything. There's not even clothes in the closet. She goes to put Danielle's suitcase in the closet, and there's literally like 3 shirts hanging in there.
Yeah.
And that's it. So this is not her house. This is where she and Garrick have been shacked up for the last 6 weeks. And so she greets Danny at the door, and she seems excited to see her. She's all happy. Garrick, I think he's taking a nap because she has to call for him. Oh, and she calls him Garricky. Just like Colty.
Yeah.
And, Larissa from 90 Day Fiancé. So that must be a thing with the Portuguese accent. There must be a lot of, in their pronunciation, like that E sound or whatever, that they always just stick at the end of a word when they're trying to translate something.
Yeah, exactly.
That was funny.
But then Danny saying, when she got there, she's like, I feel like I'm walking into this couple's house. She's the wife, but she's walking in, and they're like, oh, hi, Danny. Danny's come to visit us.
Welcome to our home.
Welcome to our new home. You know?
Yeah, it's a little awkward. And Nathalia says that, Danny can stay in the bedroom with Derek. Come on, keep going and calling him.
Because Garrick's a weird. I'm sorry.
It is.
I don't mean to make fun.
I don't know anyone named Garrick.
I don't like the name Garrick, and I hate these names that sound just like a very, very common name, but slightly off.
I'm too old for this to try to remember that. So then they go and they sit on the couch. The next scene. In the subsequent scene after that, I believe that they're sitting on the couch, right? Yeah. And Garrick reveals that they're having some issues with the bailiff. They call it the bailiff or the magistrate, whatever office gives out these marriage licenses. And so at this point, they haven't gotten the worse news yet. I think just saying that they've been Garrick had to go down there 3 times.
Yes, 3 times in those 6 weeks. He had to stop banging Nathalia and go down to the office to figure out what's holding up their marriage.
Yeah. So they they don't know what's happening, which I'm sure they know what's happening. I'm sure they have more information than they're letting on.
And then does Danny say this, that Nathalia doesn't seem happy about the baby? Because this whole conversation about how did she get pregnant? Okay. Yeah. This is where you're getting. Okay. Got it. Keep going.
So they start talking. And another thing I noticed is that Natalia's been working on her English.
Yes. That was the other thing too, was, so she knew.
You speak English now.
You know a lot more English. And I'm like, so she's been studying, and Garrick, of course, knows nothing.
Still
like maybe one word, one or two words he knows. But he has not bothered to learn any.
He knows pastel.
Yes.
Those little sweetbreads.
So do you think that Nathalia in the last 6 weeks with Garrick, and maybe the 2 weeks before, because it's been 2 months since they saw each other, you think that she's been working on the English, or do you think she knew a lot more English when she first met them and that she was pretending she didn't know?
I think she had to have known more English, before she went to go visit them in Mexico. Yeah, because now a couple times I saw he whipped out the translator.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, he doesn't speak anything.
No. But he has not bothered at all.
No, I didn't see her really with the translator. She seemed to be able to carry on a conversation. She seemed to be very clear about the no condom on fertile days. I mean...
No condom fertile days. I was like, what the what?
Because she was very specific.
Oh yeah, because this was so good, was that, they're talking about the baby, and Garrick, Garrick and Danny are like, oh God, what a surprise. And she's like, you don't know how that happened?
She's like, surprise.
Yeah.
Surprise. She went in.
Oh yeah.
She came in hot.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, surprise. And Danielle's like, yeah, 14 years. Yeah, it was a surprise. And that's when she whipped out the no condom on fertile days. So apparently that is a birth control method. No condom on fertile days. That
no, you wear a condom.
That's
on fertile days.
Condom on fertile days that Nathalia is throwing out there, and Garrick and Dannielle are like, no,
we haven't used anything.
Never heard of it.
But basically they have been having unprotected sex like for 14 years. And so I don't blame them. I too would be surprised. I don't know how old Dannielle is. But before this though, what I think is so hilarious is they interview Garrick about the situation with Danny and Nathalia. And I love how Garrick takes this attitude like he's got nothing going. Yeah, like this has nothing to do with me. Right. He talks about like, well, Natalia's insecure, so she doesn't really want to engage with Danny, but they're sisters. So there's just so much I can do.
They need to work it out.
Like, but they're not sisters. It'd be one thing if they were lifelong sisters.
They met each other once.
Sisters. They're not.
They met each other once in Mexico for a week.
Yeah, they barely know each other, calling each other sisters anyway. And then Garrick saying that, the pregnancy was a real surprise. I mean, I really thought it was Nathalia that was going to be pregnant.
Like, I thought Nathalia would be pregnant.
I think it pisses him off, and I think it pisses her off too.
Oh, Nathalia pretty much accused Dannielle of getting pregnant on purpose. And Dannielle could tell that that's what she was insinuating. And Dannielle was getting, kind of snippy. And that was very tense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And of course, Garrick's like, do.
Right.
This has got nothing to do with me. Oh, no. So we learned that apparently this bailiff or whomever's in charge discovered that Garrick was a polygamist. And because that he is married, even though they're divorced.
Yeah, they're not married.
But I don't know if it's like because they have a common. I don't know how that, if they're not married, they technically are not married. So
the phrase Garrick used the phrase that they live as a married couple.
Okay. And so it needed to be moved to a judge. A judge has to decide. Okay.
They Googled him. They Googled Garrick. Someone tipped them off. they Googled him. They found out what this idiot had done, divorcing his wife so that he could marry Brazilian women.
They're like, seeking sister wives?
Yeah.
Okay, let me get TLC. What's TLC?
Let me get my translator app out.
The Learning Channel.
The
Great.
Learning Channel.
Yeah.
Let me educate myself on what's happening here. And so they're like, oh, okay. Yeah. And, this is a country that's very religious.
Mm-hmm.
And Garrick allegedly is very religious.
Oh, yeah.
A different type. And so, they're probably looking at this like, what is this creepy man doing?
Mm-hmm.
And we're not just going to rubber stamp this.
Yeah. Well, and good for them.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't this what we want from the government? Like,
right. They're looking out for their citizen. Yeah. They're looking out for Nathalia, They're
protecting her from Garrick. They're like,
right.
We as Brazilians need to protect Nathalia.
We need to unite.
We need to unite against this goofy guy with the black tank top. And if he comes in here one more time in that black tank top.
In the middle of the day.
In the middle of the day.
Like all, with his sunglasses. And
does he work?
Yeah.
What's going on with him? We don't like him at all.
Yeah. These are hardworking government officials. Yeah. And they're like, who is this guy? So, So did they deny it flat out, or did they say that?
Okay, this is
a higher power.
No, they didn't. So we then learn in the last scene that they get this notice, I guess via email or whatever, from the judge denying them this. I guess what they're looking for is they need the marriage license in order to apply for the marriage visa. I'm so confused about this. It's like, because they can't even apply for the marriage visa, or are they working on the marriage license while simultaneously saying yes? And the plan is then she will be moving back to the U.S.
Well, the visa comes from the United States, not from.
All
they're trying to do is get married.
Okay, so
they need to have a valid marriage in Brazil, and then Garrick would go back to the United States and he would apply and say, "Hey, I just went over to Brazil and married this woman, and I want her to come here and live with me because I'm an American citizen." So that is issued by the U.S. government. All they're trying to do is get married by the Brazilians, and they're saying no.
Yes. Okay. And Garrick is like, they get this email saying that the judge denied them. Garrick's, of course, like, I just don't understand.
He starts crying.
Yeah, I'm not married. I think it's okay if someone gets married and has a wife and a girlfriend, right? Because that's essentially what he's saying the situation is. But here, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. Dannielle made a stop at the bailiffs on the way there. And said, if I'm going to come to this guy, I'm not coming to this goddamn wedding. I'm coming to blow it up.
Right.
And I'm dropping off there. And she goes to them and says, I'm his wife. I'm pregnant. Right. TLC, Seeking Sister Wives. We watch the show. We live together.
He made me divorce him, but we live together.
And he's now trying to marry this woman.
Yeah.
And I'm pregnant. I'm his wife. So, take that what you want. And then she goes back she shows up. Hi. Oh, no. Oh, that didn't work out. Well, that's God's plan.
That's God's plan.
God wants me to have a baby and you not to get married.
God wants the 90-day visa. That's
because she says at the end, she is relieved there is no wedding. I'm like, she benefited from this, because at the end we see Nathalia gets really upset and has to leave, and she's
just
crying.
To lie down. Yeah.
Lie down. Yeah. And then Garrick's like, well, maybe me and my girlfriend will go out for a walk now. And so he's out there. And did you notice, like, is the tank top and the shorts, they're really tight.
Yeah, very tight.
Are they always this tight, or did you too many pastels? Like, what is happening here? I'm like, why does your clothing have to be so tight? It's very disconcerting.
I think he's gained a few pounds since he's.
I guess so. And he's like, oh God, I don't have any more. I need to wear my black tank tops. I can't not wear my black tank tops. But they go on this walk, and so we learn, like, now Nathalia, they're going to have to apply for the K-1 visa, the fiance visa.
Which could be anywhere from like 9 months to 2 years. Yeah, exactly. Minimum of 9
It's going to take it's going to take a minute for sure.
But Garrick seems, he says he's happy to see Dannielle. They've rekindled their whatever, which I'm sure Nathalia is not happy about.
Yeah. Yeah. So Nathalia, I guess, is not as innocent or as wanting to be sisters the way she's portrayed herself to be, because she was not happy about this at all. And you know what I also wonder is, I wonder if Garrick said to her, I don't really have sex with Dannielle anymore. Like we never do it.
She's so surprised.
Yes. We never do it. Like we haven't done it in years. Like there's nothing between us. We are like whatever. And so to learn like, 6 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, like maybe when you were visiting me in Mexico, like around the time that we got engaged, you got pregnant. So that means that you're having sex. And that's the other thing that I wonder. But I love Garrick's just so sheepish and like, okay, well, that's what God wants. And so, okay, let's go for a walk and let me show you where the pastels are and let's go. Just
let's enjoy the rest of our time here.
Yeah. I mean, we have this lovely rental.
Yeah.
Let's hang out.
But then the scenes from next week, they apparently, even though there's going to be no wedding, a bunch of Natalia's friends show up from out of town because they'd already planned.
Yeah.
So they have this wedding without a wedding. And I'm like, oh, I bet you some stuff goes down with when Natalia's friends show up.
Oh, yeah. I think they're gonna be pissed with Dannielle, everyone. Or maybe they'll say something about to Nathalia about Garrick. So now this makes a lot more sense because right on social media, we just see the two of them with the new baby. And so I don't, is he still they're not engaged to Nathalia?
They're not going to show her any regardless because they want to keep it secret. So even if they're still with her, even if she's made her way here, because remember, this baby's a year old. So it's been 2 years almost since this scene was shot in Brazil that we just saw. Because Dannielle's just pregnant. So she went all the way through the pregnancy and the baby's now a year.
Okay.
So this was 2 years ago. So if they had applied for the 90-day fiance visa almost 2 years ago, she could be here. But they're not going to show her because
I guess it's true. They didn't show the baby until the whole pregnancy story.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. But what if they show up on 90 Day Fiancé? That would be great.
But also keep in mind, there were some scenes from upcoming episodes, like the mid-season scenes, where Garrick meets that Muslim woman in Michigan.
Yeah.
And then she's in Colorado. And so at this point, I guess Dannielle would have been pregnant during that time. I don't know what happened with that woman.
Yeah.
And Nathalia was upset. They showed a scene with her talking on the phone. She was very excited about that. So there's a lot more to come.
Yeah, because I really don't think that Garrick ever sat Nathalia down and said, my plan is to have 5 wives. This is what I'm going to do, and you're going to be number 2. And this is what's happening. I really think he sat her down and said, I can't leave Danny, but we are legally divorced, so I can marry you. But she's the mother of my children.
Right.
We're not together.
We don't
anymore.
have sex anymore.
Yeah. But can you see her like as a sister and kind of be nice to her?
Yeah.
And, but you and I, will be together. And now it's all coming out.
Wow.
So, what a show. What a show.
Well, I'm now addicted to, Dannielle's weekly live that she does the day after the show comes out.
Oh, okay. So what did they say?
So, well, this last one, it was she and Garrick and the baby. And it was a lot of preaching. It was very preachy. Garrick was getting into quoting scriptures, and it was a lot of talking about gender roles and how God wants, the men to be doing this and the women to be doing that. And God wants this and it's God. It was a lot of all like God's plan. If God wants this, and it was exhausting. It was just kind of like, okay, so I don't know anything about religion, the Bible, anything. I respect anyone who has their own religious beliefs or whatever, but I seem to remember somewhere in the Bible teachings that God also gave people free will.
Yes.
You've heard of that, right?
Yes, I've heard of
making this up.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yet you still have free will. I find it hard that God has time to talk to everybody so much and tell everybody what to do.
He is in Colorado in garages.
That's all he does.
All he does is hang out in the garage.
Day. Yes. Danny all day long. So you watch it and you're just like, okay. I mean, you have to start watching it. It's hard to explain. And then they start taking questions from, people that are live on there. And, of course, most of them they're all positive. They're picking the positive ones. But, it's just, she answers some questions. It's so boring and whatever. But I mean, just they're blind, well, this is God's plan.
But is it blind? Are they blind?
I don't know.
I think this is, know. I mean, I don't think Garrick's really that bright, but I don't, come on. He has to know that some of this is a bit of BS. That like, this is what he wants. He wants the 5 wives. This isn't God telling him this. But it's wrapped up in a package that way, And
he had to sell it to Dannielle that way.
Yeah.
But Dannielle they're equally as, I think they both really believe this God's, not so much that God's talking, well, Garrick maybe, but Dannielle, it's not so much that God is talking to her. It's more like, she just, whatever happens, she says, well, that was God's plan. Whatever happens, that was God's plan. So good, like she's not allowed to have a feeling about it because that's what was supposed to happen. And she has no, again, going back to the free will you have the right to be upset about something that happened. You have the right to take steps to change that,
Well, and that's this whole religious thing where they tell these women, right, that their jealousy is, like the whole underline has always been, you have these feelings, but, because this is God's will, you have to manage these feelings and just deal with the acceptance of it or ignore them or figure out, or this is God testing you or whatever it is. So I really do think that Danny was like, fuck you, God's will. I'm getting in this cab. I'm going down to that bailiff and I'm telling them not to let them have that marriage license. And this is how I'm going to get this, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah. I would really like to have a religious scholar break some of this down.
Yeah.
That would be really, because I just feel like it's a way for Garrick to just justify everything.
Well, and that's the big thing is there are many, many people out there who are very spiritual, very religious, who know the Bible back and forth. And they will say to you, well, that's not necessarily what this scripture means, right? This isn't what this means. I think, so there are people out there that sort of see it as not, they believe in free will and they believe that they're making their own choices, but that they have this relationship with God. But they also recognize that it's not about putting their will on other people. And that's always been the problem with religion is it's been used to sort of say there's only one way to be. This is my way or the highway.
Yeah. Wow. Well, we don't want to get too into religion.
Yeah. We don't know enough about it.
We don't need any
nasty
messages about it.
All right. Wrap it up.
Okay.
I'm wrapping it up. So, sorry, forgot who was doing the intro. So thank you so much for tuning in. As we've mentioned before, we have a Patreon now, very exciting. We have one tier, an $8 tier, and you get a monthly true crime episode. You get a monthly Ask Us Anything, Ask Us Therapy, mental health questions, or legal questions. We'll do our best to answer them. And then each week you get a bonus where we talk about what's happening in pop culture, what's going on in our lives, like quick hits of things. And it goes in lots of different directions. And you will get all of these shows now ad free. So
if you're on Patreon. So that's what you get for Patreon. There's other ways to support us. A great way to support us is by giving us a 5-star rating and review. That always helps us. Subscribing to the podcast, that helps us as well. And if you want to keep up with what the shows that are coming out and what's happening and all that good stuff, you can check us out at PsychLegalPop on Instagram or email us at psychlegalpoppodcast@gmail.com. I think that's everything. Okay.
All right.
Can't
See
wait
you all
for
next time.
week.
Yes. Bye.
Pepsi Prebiotic Cola in original and cherry vanilla. That Pepsi taste you love with no artificial sweeteners, only 30 calories, just 5 grams of sugar, and 3 grams of prebiotic fiber. That great Pepsi taste with even more to love. Pepsi Prebiotic Cola. Unbelievably Pepsi.
Looking for a fun night out? K1 Speed puts you behind the wheel for an adrenaline-filled time you and your friends will never forget. Off the track, the fun keeps rolling with arcade games, great food, and drinks. They even have private party rooms for your birthday parties and corporate outings. Race hard, laugh harder, and claim your spot on the podium. K1 Speed. More than racing, it's an experience.